You're tuned in to The Thinking Class with Lawrence D. Adams. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. This is Lawrence D. Adams, young spirituality and the brain combined. But we changing up some things. We are live. Thank you for joining us today as we talking about you don't need another strategy. You need a throne. You don't need another strategy. You know, I've been talking about strategy for the longest, the game and strategy. But if you don't graduate from that place, you're going to stay in the same place. So today we're talking about that you don't need another strategy, you need a throne. So this is to graduate a lot of people from game and strategy, which is all needed. But now I need you to graduate as I'm graduating into something a little bit deeper and a little bit more texture for your life. So today we're talking about you don't need another strategy, you need a throne. This episode calls out the lies of over strategizing, over optimizing, while silently crumbling inside. It offers the alternative, build a life and business from sovereignty, not system. Build a life and business of sovereignty and not systems. So let me start off with my introduction is this. You're taking all the courses, you read all the books, you tried to 10x your grind, your brand, your bag, but deep down, you're still looking for something that no funnel can give you. You don't need another strategy, brothers. You need a throne. So let me break this down again. You're taking all the courses. You listen to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, listen to me, listen to others. You didn't read all the books, single, together, not together. You didn't listen to all of that. You didn't try to 10x your grind. You've been grinding. I mean, you've been getting in, putting in the work. You've been talking about building your brand, your bag, but deep down, you're still looking for something that no funnel can give you. You don't need another strategy. You need a throne. Strategy, the first thing I'm going to give is strategy isn't your problem. Identity is. Uh-oh. LDA, how could you say this? Let me get my mouse because I need to put my thinking class on here so everybody know where they're at because it's about to change. That's about to change too. Now, you know, I've been talking about strategy for about 2 years. Game is strategy from point A to point B. That's how you move in the game. But I want to graduate you out of the game because you don't need another strategy. Because strategy isn't your problem, identity is. Strategy isn't your problem, identity is. What is your identity? Men chase systems when their soul is misaligned. Men, women, everybody chase systems when their soul is misaligned. Have you been chasing systems? Uh-oh, lighting went out. Let me get it back on. Have you been chasing systems? Have you been chasing systems and you know your soul is not in the right place? Well, let me listen to this, how to get this. If I can read how to advance that. You've been chasing game, you've been chasing systems, strategies, and you don't realize, like this section talks about, your identity is the problem. Systems, strategy is the problem, your identity is. You're not burnt out, you're not burnt out because you're working. You're not burned out because you're working too much. You burn out from trying to earn permission to be who you already are. Uh-oh. Let me slow down and really process this for you. You're not burnt out because you're working too much. You're burnt out from trying to earn permission to be who you already are. What's going on, Wade? Good to see you. I got to figure out how to get the comments on there. It's a way for the comments to jump on there. So you're not burnt out from working too much. You're burnt out from what is this happening? You're burnt out from what? Working too much. Trying to earn permission. Trying to earn permission to be who you are. You didn't got the six-figure job. You didn't got the house. You didn't got the woman. You didn't got the house. You didn't did everything else. And you didn't work hard. You didn't grind. You didn't put in the work. You didn't study the game. You didn't learn red pill, yellow pill, green pill, all these pills. But you burnt out because you're trying to earn permission to be who you really are. You built the structures, but never claimed the crown. Let me say that again. You have built the structures, but never claimed the crowd. I know so many men who've been on these YouTube streets and been listening to content, me too, have built things, have created content, brands, and created, and they're taking the information, they're grown, they built, but they never gave themselves permission to be who they really are. They never claimed the crown of who they are. So this is not about you trying to climb and grind. We eliminated those words out of the vocabulary. There's no grinding over here. There's no hustling. There's no abundance over here. We're not talking about abundance. We're not talking about success. We're talking about those who already got it, but they're misaligned. They are what? Misaligned. They got everything else. They got everything in place, because I think what happens is we in this space, we pushing everybody to get to acquire all these things, but we miss telling them how to get their soul in the right place or how to claim their crown. That's why this teaching is today is talking about you don't need another strategy. You need a throne. Your identity isn't sovereign. Your strategy will always be survival. If your identity isn't sovereign, your strategy would always be survival. We have taught so many men on these social media streets, and I'm guilty of it, of how to be strategies to be survival. So make sure the girl don't do this. Make sure they don't do that. Make sure they don't take advantage of you. That we have taught men at a level of teaching them how to strategies to survive, instead of tapping into the real key is their identity, so that they become sovereign. I have been one of the main components. That's why I've been switching up the teaching gradually. But I need to drop this bomb on you today. Strategies are for one level. And I think about 2 years ago, I did a whole teaching on stratospheres. We just stepped out of the whole stratosphere of chasing game and strategies, because you get strategies to survive what? I don't want the woman to take my money. She's a gold digger and all this kind of stuff. You're past that point now. Congratulations. It is It is graduation time for a lot of you men. If you're not ready for this content, you're going to have to leave because there's no more strategies being taught here. Go listen to my whole catalog where I talk about game, where game being strategy. Strategies will always be survival. But if your identity isn't sovereign, your strategies will always be survival. So let me read over this. Let me read over this again. Men chase systems when their soul is misaligned. You're not burnt out because you're working too much. You're burnt out for trying to earn permission to be who you really are. Are you, let me speak to you, are you trying to earn permission to be the man you were designed to be? Are you looking for all the external fixings, the boat, the car, the women, the socks, the house? If I get six figures, if I become a high value man, versus giving yourself permission to be who you really are? So I'm speaking to a different caliber of man who have already reached those things. You have built the structures, you have built everything around you, but you never claim your crown. The lie of effort over essence. Strategy becomes your drug because it gives you a false sense of control. Strategy becomes your drug because it gives you a false sense of control. Some of y'all are addicted to strategy because you want to control the narrative around you because you are afraid that if you lose control, you wouldn't know what to do. Strategy has become your drug of choice. You might call it game. You may call it red pill. You may call it whatever you want. But you're looking for that drug so that you can get another hit. If I get another strategy, I can figure this out and I can move in a certain way. It gives you a sense of false control. And what man doesn't want to be in control? He wants to control himself and he wants to control everything around him. But some of you have been on the run of looking for all the strategies in the world because you want that false sense of control. But money, women influence, they don't respond to effort. They respond to presence. And presence is born from order, not movement. Money, women, and influence don't respond to effort. They respond to presence. And presence is born from order, not from movement. How many of y'all have tapped into the presence of who you really are? Are you leading your life or are you just managing the chaos you built? Are you leading your life or are you managing the chaos you built? What part of your grind is a distraction from your truth? Are you leading your life or are you just managing the chaos that you built? Ooh, I'm looking at the numbers. Ain't nobody in here. I love it. That means I'm doing it right. That means I'm shuffling the deck. Money, women, and influence, they don't respond to effort, they respond to presence. And presence is born from order, not movement. Are you leading your life or are you just managing the chaos? Many of you are just managing the chaos around you. Fire over here, fire over there, fire over there, but you're not leading your life. How can you lead a woman or a business or anything else if you're not leading your own life? Are you leading your life or are you managing the chaos? Some of y'all are masters at managing the chaos in your life. When I'm thinking about this, I see it like little fires in your life that you refuse to extinguish. You refuse to address because you say, "Well, it ain't that bad. I'll keep that one. I'll make sure that's okay." And you go over here and you deal with that little fire. You deal with that. You're managing chaos. Some of y'all are used to living in chaos and survival mode, so that's the reason why you're looking for strategies. Or are you leading your life? Are you really leading your life? Managing chaos you built. And it wasn't the devil, it wasn't God, it wasn't your mama, it wasn't your cousin, it wasn't none of them. You built the chaos that's in your life. You're managing the chaos you built. What part of your grind is a distraction from your truth? Some of y'all have been on this whole thing of hustle, grind, hustle, hustle, hustle hard, grind, success, abundance. I gotta grind it out, LD. I gotta push, I gotta do this. Has it become a distraction from your real truth? Has your grinding, hustling become a distraction from your truth of who you really are? Let me say something. This has been a distraction for me. I've been on a hustle. I've been grinding. I'm taking the whole game mentality and I got to hustle. And it makes you feel like you're more masculine if you saying I'm hustling, man. I'm grinding. I'm getting it out the mud. How long you going to get it out the mud? My drink. How long are you going to get it out the mud? We have looked at hustling and getting it out the mud, and I'm as the merit of true masculinity. We have looked at, and I've been one of the components teaching it. I was looking at you grinding, you hustling, you're pimping, simping. You looking at it as the true merit of what masculinity is. And I'm here to tell you in your face, it is not. So this is going to go against the norm of everything I taught and a lot of other people what they're teaching. Your masculinity is not determined by the grind or getting it out the mud or street creds. If it doesn't go past deeper than street creds, that's all you're going to stay is on the streets. Are you leading your life or just managing the chaos? What part of your grind is distracting from the truth? Some of y'all have not faced the truth of who you really are. You didn't grind, you didn't hustle, you didn't pull yourself out the mud, you didn't did it just out, you didn't bootstrap everything. But has it become a distraction from your truth? If you listen to most of the content around here, it's about hustling and grinding, success, abundance, manifestation. I eliminate all those words. It's time to go to the next level. People respond to your presence. What is the throne really? Because I said, you don't need another strategy, you need a throne. So I'm taking you from being a person who's grinding to actually putting the crown on your head to recognize who you really are. It's time to crown you men for who you really are. The throne is the seat you sit in when you stop trying to earn the right to breathe. Oh boy. Whew. Let me read that again because that got me. The throne is the seat you sit in when you stop trying to earn the right to breathe. Some of y'all have not sat in the throne of who you really are because you're trying to earn the right to breathe. It's the spiritual stillness plus masculine clarity. The throne is the seat you sit when you stop trying to earn the right to breathe. Some of y'all are looking for, let me do like we used to do when you was a kid. I'm gonna put the little permission slip on the back of your coat, and I'm about to send you back to your home and say you have the permission to be you. Y'all remember that? They get the little permission slip. Get your parent to sign this. I'm giving you the permission slip today to say it's time to sit in your throne, where you stop trying to earn the right to breathe. It's no longer outsourcing your value to how well something performs. Uh-oh. It's no longer outsourcing your value to how well something performs. It's choosing to become the man you strategically were built to compensate for. Let me read it again. It's spiritual stillness plus masculine clarity. You know who you are when you sit in your throne. You don't need permission from anyone else, anyone anymore. You don't need nobody to validate you. You need to validate yourself. You're not looking for permission from the world. You're not looking for permission from me or anyone else. It's time for you to sit on your throne. It's no longer outsourcing your value to how well something performs. Some of you get your value based on how something performs in the workplace. If it works or it doesn't work, your value doesn't change. It's choosing to become the man your strategies were built to compensate for. Let me read this because it's going to help you. Grind is external validation. See, when you grind, you want everybody to see you grinding. Yeah, I'm grinding. I'm getting it in. I'm getting out the mud. It is external validation. Look at all the people who grinding. They're looking for somebody to pat them on the back and say, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You're grinding." Grinding is, or hustling is external validation. Grinding is external validation. Gain is strategic confidence. Gain is strategic confidence. And throne is internal sovereignty. So grinding. So you see somebody grinding. I'm grinding LDE. I'm getting it in. Not here. It's external validation. Game is strategic. We got that part. Because we're getting past it being strategic. Confidence. The throne is internal sovereignty. Some of you need to tap into the throne that's inside of you. Your money, your houses, the cars, the women, shoes, Nike, Jordan, whatever it is, should never place the throne that's inside of you. It's internal sovereignty. How to reclaim the throne. Now you need to really pay attention to this, because this is something that we all have been guilty of. Burn the need for applauses. Even with this whole shifting the pot thinking class, I had to burn the need for applauses. Burn the need for people to applaud you. If you're looking for applause, for everybody to say, "Oh, good job, got it, boy. You're doing a great job. I like what you're doing," you're already lost. How to reclaim your throne? Burn your need for applauses. If anything, you need to applaud yourself first if you want others to applaud you. So burn your need for applauses. Speak less. Let your presence explain you. Some of y'all talk too much. I can say a whole dissertation on people who talk too much, gossiping, sounding like two little kids who just gossiping about everything. You don't even know how to control your tongue. Speak less. Let your presence explain you. Sometimes the best thing you can do is shut the up. Speak less. What? Speak less. Let your presence explain you. Build rituals, not just routines. That's something we're going to talk about later on in the year. Stop solving problems that disappear when you sit in your essence. Stop solving problems that disappear when you sit in your essence. How do you reclaim your throne? Burn your need for applause. Some of y'all looking for somebody to say you're doing a good job. Speak less. Let your presence explain who you are. Some of y'all need to stop being afraid of who you are in your presence. You need to walk in a room and the room tilt. You need to walk into the room and the room tilts when you walk in. Why? It's because people are like, wow, who is this guy? That when you do speak, they are enamored by the words that are coming out of your mouth. Stop solving problems that disappear when you sit in your essence. Some things you don't need to address because you're sitting in your throne. You need to feel, if you're sitting in the throne, in your throne, you need to be crowned. You need to recognize who you really are. That's why, let me read this part right here because it's so important. Strategy isn't your problem, identity is. When you change your identity, you change how you move. What do you mean, LDA? I thought you said game was it, strategy was it. Now it's time for graduation. I need you to change your identity of who you are. When you change your identity of who you are, you change your actions, how you move, whether you say things, it makes a whole different make a whole difference. LDA, what's going on, bro? Okay. Make a lot of sense. Never thought of that. Strategy isn't your problem, it's your identity. See, that's why. Now I can sort of give a little street part of it. That's why they say the game can't be on you, it has to be in you. What are they saying? They're saying that you can know the game mentally, but your identity doesn't line up to what you know. You can know the game and all the lingo and how to move, but if it's not your identity, guess what happens? You become a perp or perpetrator. And we have a lot of people who are talking real good, but their identity don't line up to what they're talking. Their identity doesn't line up to who they really are. So strategy is good. Okay, I did a whole 3 years on strategies. Now it's time to walk into your identity. It's time for you to claim your crown. You say, well, LD, I don't see nobody in the chat room. I don't see this. Because now we're trimming the fat. I'm not saying these people are fat, but we're going to a whole nother level where you're getting past your strategies. Now you get into your identity. Who are you? What is your truth? Have you been sitting in your throne? Have you taken on your crown? That's where we're at now. Your throne isn't somewhere you arrive. It's something you remember. Your throne isn't something somewhere you arrive. Are you thinking you're going to arrive to somewhere that's your throne? No, it's something you remember. And once you sit in it, your words carry weight. You move, your moves carry precision, and your life stop being about proving and start becoming sacred. Let me read that again, because I think this is a little heavy. Your throne isn't something you arrive to. It's something that you remember. And once you sit in it, your words carry weight, your moves carry precision, and your life stop being about proving and it becomes sacred. What this week coming up, do you need to get off the drugs of looking for strategies instead of sitting in the essence of who you really are and your true identity? Well, yeah, I don't know what my true identity is. That's why I'm here. We're gonna uncover your identity. I'm giving you clues now for you to sit into the throne of who you are. Because you didn't think about it. There's a lot of guys who have accomplished a lot of things, and still they're empty inside. They may have a ranch, they may have horses, they got all these things, they got all the money. Money's no longer an issue. Women's no longer an issue. Cars no longer an issue. Insurance, this is not, none of those things are no longer an issue. But yet they are empty inside. They're making six figures, close to $1 million. They can travel and be a passport bro. They can come back, but yet they are empty inside. They didn't learn the latest moves, they didn't learn all the strategies, but yet they are empty inside. Are you that man right now? You got some level of success. You no longer use the word grinding and hustling and game, but you're realizing like, I got some things, LDA. I'm moving, I'm grooving, I'm doing my thing. But yet you feel like something is off. You're a little off somewhere. You misaligned somewhere. You didn't study this and you ain't studied that. You ain't studied the arts. You didn't study the science. You didn't study that. But yet something is a little off there. You feel like something is missing. Something that money can't buy. Something that sex can't give you. Thank you so much right there. Thank you for the cash out, the super chat. LDA is on your street. I like that. We know we're on the street, but we are in the gated communities now. We are in the gated communities because I realize a lot of men that I'm missing some men who are past the point of game, past the point of strategy, or past the point of obtaining anything because they got everything already. But they're looking for something a little bit deeper that many times is not offered on social media. And they're not on social media a lot. They're looking for something a little bit deeper because they feel misaligned. They don't feel connected like they need to. They okay, I got the women, I got the cars, I got everything, but something is off, a little off with me. I don't know what it is. And so what they do is they go on a binge tour on social media and on YouTube looking for information instead of transformation to try to fill that void that's inside of them. So they look for, if I get this strategy out, this help. The strategy only helps to a degree if it doesn't change your identity, if it doesn't realign your soul, or it doesn't align you to sit in your throne. or it doesn't give you, stop looking for permission from others or trying to prove to others. Some of y'all, oh, wow, this is for someone. The reason why you're grinding so hard and pushing so hard because you need to prove to your father or to your family that you're not like them. You're trying to prove to people who care and may not care about anything about you. You're trying to prove to your family, I gotta prove to my mother and my father, I gotta do it better than them. I gotta go better. You're on the wrong street going the wrong way because you're trying to prove to them that you're not like them. And your essence of trying to prove has put you on the wrong street, going the wrong direction. I'm speaking, that's for someone. What about trying to prove to myself, LDA? We'll talk about that maybe another day or maybe later on. But many of you are trying to prove to others or your classmates or to your wife or to your ex-wife or to whoever, I'm not like that. You're trying to prove. Get off the proving train, trying to prove something to somebody else. I'm trying to free you up, brother. I'm trying to free you up, sister who's listening. Who are you trying to prove something to? Whereas this in the notes right here. You're trying to prove yourself to somebody. Who are you trying to prove to? I'm trying to prove that I can make it. I don't need it. I'm telling you from experience. I've been there trying to prove to my dad, trying to prove to my mother, my sister, my brother, to my kids. I was trying to prove to everybody else that I'm not like that. I can do better. I can do this. Who are you trying to prove to? And do they really care? Stop trying to prove stuff. I'm gonna free you up right now. When you stop trying to prove something to others, you will become free. Some of y'all go back to your class reunion so that you can prove to people that you're not who you used to be. Some of y'all post stuff on social media, Facebook and Instagram and everything else, because you want to prove to people that, yeah, I got money, I'm doing well, I got this. Why don't you share the identity of trying to prove something to others who don't give a rat's tail about you? You said, thanks for that, LD. Yeah. Some of y'all trying to prove something to somebody else, and it's your whole focus. I gotta prove to them that I ain't like that. I'm different now. You're going to be proven to the day you die if you're trying to prove to other people. I'm telling you, I'm saying from experience, shed that whole identity of trying to prove to other people of who you are. You try to prove to the people in church, in the mosque, in the temple, I'm a good brother, I'm a good sister, I'm on the right track. You're trying to prove to the person you're in a relationship with. Stop trying to prove yourself. Who are you trying to prove to? Thanks for that, LDA. Yeah. This is why the thinking class is for the is it's exclusive and it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. I have nothing to prove on these social media streets. Numbers, content, who I am, what I know. How I know it, the proving is over with. And why do I need to prove to anyone else what I do on my channel? Mm. Mm-mm-mm. So many people represent a false image, even in the church. So many fake people. Yep. Fake people in church and fake people outside the church. Because you're trying to prove. Uh-oh. Some of y'all are even stuck in a place of trying to prove yourself to God. You're trying to prove yourself to everything, even God. Stop trying to prove yourself to anyone. People can sense when you're trying to prove yourself to them. It's almost like a fragrance good when you're trying to prove yourself. Well, I graduated from here. I do this. I do that. Who are you trying to prove? You don't need another strategy. You need a throne. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. It would take the weight off of somebody's who's listening right now. If you stop trying to prove yourself to others. I'm trying to look at my notes where this is, but because I said it before. That is the reason why some people are burnt out in life. They're trying to prove themselves to others, trying to prove themselves to some other people who don't care about you, don't even love you. Stop trying to prove yourself. I don't know why I'm doing this, but somebody needs to hear that. If your identity isn't sovereign, your strategy will always be survival. Let me read what you said because I think this is good right here. My mouse is reading over here. I used to be in sales and taught that people can feel when you're desperate. Correct. Correct. They can feel it when you're trying to prove it or be desperate about something. When you become neutral or become still in who you are, guess what happens? You end up getting the closing the sale and you end up attracting the right people to you. Stop trying to prove or even trying to be desperate. Actually, if you are a part of this thinking class, the elite men, you're not trying to prove yourself to anyone. Does a king try to prove to another king who he is? No. This is who he sits on his throne and said, this is who I am. This is who I am. When you sit in the throne of who you are, you don't prove yourself to anyone. What you'll notice, people will begin to start proving themselves to you because they can sense your presence. They can sense that you are in alignment with yourself and that you don't need their opinion or even moved by their opinions or their thoughts. That's why you don't need another strategy. You need a throne. Some of y'all have been chasing. I'm gonna say this again. Your strategies has become your drug, giving you a false sense of control. If I get some more strategy, if I get some more game, if I listen, how much more are you going to listen to and not change who you are? I thought of an analogy. I thought about it yesterday. I think the day working out, or I thought about it yesterday. What does it matter to be playing chess and learn all the strategies if you never become a master at playing chess? If you never embrace the identity of being a master chess player. Some of y'all have not embraced who you really are, and you're waiting for others to give you permission to be who you are. You have taken the identity of the world only for you to feel misaligned. Like I said, you had taken all the courses, you read all the books, you tried to grind 10 times harder, brag, but deep down, you still looking for something that no funnel can give you. You don't need another strategy, brothers. You need a throne. Are you ready to sit in the throne of who you really are? Are you ready for people to feel the presence of who you are? The reason why you don't want people to feel the presence of who you are is because you are not comfortable in the presence of who you are. The moment you become comfortable in your presence, people around you will become comfortable with your presence. It sounds so simple, but we overcomplicate it. You need to sit in the presence of who you are, the stillness of who you are. Sit in your masculinity. You don't need, let me say this for somebody who's listening. You don't need to prove that you are a man or that you are masculine. You don't need to prove that anymore. You don't need to prove it anymore. Sit in it, breathe in it, embrace it, identify as it. It is not in the cars. It is not in the toys. It's not in the women. It's not in the with the bigger houses. I'm all for the okay, get the houses, get all that. It's in your being who you really are. See, what happens is when these social media streets, we'll give you a whole, we'll sell you the picture that masculinity are these external things and success are these external things, which are good to have. You need to have them things, but it's not the essence of who you really are. Well, they got the G5, or they got the Porsche, they got the this kind of car, they got the house, they got the maid, they got. I'm all get those things, but who are you when we look underneath the hood? Who are you when you are alone? Are you the person crying at 4 o'clock in the morning because you didn't get everything and you still feel empty inside? Wealth is empty if you're empty inside, correct? And I'm all please, I am not saying do not go out there and obtain these items. I'm saying don't forget your soul. And what you realize that once you get those, I remember I put it like this because and it'll make sense if I don't get an example. Once you get those items, I remember when I got my car, my new car I got. I was so happy to get it because for months, of about 6 or 7 months, I was out there going to 3 dealerships. I didn't drove to this dealership. I didn't test drove the car. I didn't got the car, and I mean I test drove this car, and I went from the sedan, then I went to the truck version, the SUV, then I drove the big version. I tried tested out all the maker's brand of that car. I would go home and I would look at it on the internet. I would put a picture of it on my phone. I did all those things. I was thinking about how I'm going to strategically move things around. I was thinking about all those things about getting this particular car. I didn't want the coupe anymore. I wanted a truck version now. So I finally moved. I made the deal and I got the car and I drove it to family reunion. I was like, yeah, that's my new car. It was clean inside, fresh new smell. It was nice. 2 weeks later, I don't even drive the car. I barely drive it now. The car is just a tool to get me from point A to point B to point C to point D and everything else. It was never designed to bring me a level of happiness and satisfaction that I should have in my life with the car or without the car. Once you realize that, it changed. You start looking at items around you as tools, as expressions of you, but not as you. You don't get your identity based on that. Last Friday, me and my girlfriend went to um, grand opening, and I like observing people and paying attention how they move. And I seen this particular brother who was in this particular fraternity, and I'm not going to name because I respect their fraternity, but I can tell by watching him because we was a lot of business people and great people around. I can just tell by watching him that this guy, he had on a chain, he had a some jeans on, he had on a suit jacket, and he kept popping his collar and he kept touching his chain, and he had on sunglasses. So I seen him come out the door one time and he touched his chain. Oh yeah, okay, okay. So he started walking, and I noticed his shield emblem on his jacket. I'm like, oh, okay, he's part of that fraternity. And then we walked around some more. Then I seen him again. He was opening the door for somebody. Then he popped his chain again and did like this suggestion chain. I said, I'm not going to judge him, but he's trying to prove that it's important and that he's somebody instead of just being who he is. He thought the value was in his chain and what he was wearing, and even in his fraternity. Shout out to that fraternity. They're from Ohio. I'm not going to say anymore. I want to say what's one it is, but I got I got friends, people who are in it. But I can tell this brother was overcompensating, trying to prove that I got money. I got this chain, and I looked. Let's be honest. I was like, oh, shoes not matching up with what you got on. And I said, he was trying to prove himself externally, or trying to overcompensate externally what he didn't have internally. And I said, wow, look at this. This is interesting. He had all the strategy. He got the Drew, he had the right clothes on, haircut was fresh, had the sunglasses on, he had the gold chain, he had the shoes on, he had everything, he was moving around. I said, but his energy, the way he was moving, he was trying to prove himself that he was somebody. While there was another guy who was suited and booted, just standing there. He couldn't be no more than 5 feet. I think it was 5 feet. Just stood there, and you knew by virtue that he was somebody and that he took care of business. He wasn't there to prove anything. He was being who he was. Where are you in that place in those two examples? Are you out there trying to prove yourself? Or are you really embracing who you really are? There's a lot of men and women who are in that place. But it was quite interesting. I got a chuckle out of it. I just thought about it today. Actually, it was just a week ago. Are you trying to prove yourself to others with your dress and how you look? Or are you comfortable in your skin and in the presence of who you are? That when you walk in a room, the room shifts because you're in the room. If this has resonated with you, let me know in the chat room if you got something from today. As you see, we are made a shift in the thinking class. Let me know if this has resonated with you. Let me know in the chat room if you got something. Brother, he put here, what profits a man if he gains the whole world and lose his soul? We have a lot of men and women who are gaining the whole world, but losing their soul. Is that you? The thinking class has just graduated to another level. I hope you're ready, because I sure am ready. Let me know in the chat room has this resonated with you. We're right at 55. Solid real world teaching. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I realize a lot of people have obtained some things in life, and what they really need is, someone to look underneath the hood. They might have got the cars, 6 figures, they're doing well. But hey, Sonny, my soul needs to be aligned. So thank you for listening. Well, you know what this means. We're out of here. Peace. Next Friday.